From the University of Texas at Austin, KUT Radio. This is In Black America.
My family had little or no influence on me choosing this as a career. They were very supportive, but I never sang in church. I used to sing in school choirs and college choir. And then in '71, I was asked to join the New Direction, which was a group out of Washington, D.C., headed up by Dick Morgan, a wonderful pianist. I joined the group, and I really liked being on the road. I liked singing professionally.
The late Phyllis Hyman, jazz and R&B artist. Diva, a reference made to a female performer, usually an opera singer. In the popular vernacular of the music business, particularly in black music circles, the term diva takes on a whole nother meaning. It implies that a female artist is demanding, difficult, uncompromising, and inflexible. It can also be considered a term of endearment, referring to the incredible talent they possess, making them a cut above the rest. In addition to these diva qualities, Hyman was very elegant, statuesque, radiant, photogenic, and jazzy. She was truly a sophisticated lady. Hyman began her career as a silky-voiced, jazz-influenced singer and gradually moved into slick, heavy-produced urban contemporary ballads and light dance songs. She won a music scholarship, the first given by a business school, and in 1971 she began her professional career with the group New Direction. When the group broke up after a national tour, she joined the Miami ensemble All the People. In 1974, she appeared in the movie Lenny. When Hyman committed suicide at the age of 45 on June 30 of 1995, she closed the book on a career that had long been deeply appreciated by connoisseurs of romantic jazz and R&B singing. A commanding physical presence and riveting stage performer, she was a tragic figure beset by personal problems, never quite achieving the popularity that her gifted talent seems to justify. She nevertheless left behind a legacy of deeply felt recordings and unforgettable live performances. I'm Johnny O. Hanson Jr., and welcome to another edition of In Black America. On this week's program, a tribute to the late Phyllis Hyman, In Black America. Tall, beautiful, and talented, devoted fans of the late singer describe her as a songstress extraordinaire, with a no-nonsense attitude and a lavish, larger-than-life stage persona. She sang with a life-affirming energy and an emotional intensity found in few other female vocalists. Hyman had one of the greatest voices of her time, and although she did not have many blockbuster hits, her dedicated fans respected her talent as a true diva deserving of wider recognition. Born Phyllis Hyman on July 6, 1949 in Philadelphia, she grew up in St. Clair Village, the South Hills section of Pittsburgh. Hyman was the eldest of 7 children. Her artistic style was often described as a cross between Aretha Franklin and Josephine Baker. She began singing while in public school and became a member of the Pittsburgh All-City Choir. She attended the Robert Morris Business School on a music scholarship. In 1975, Hyman arrived in New York City and was discovered by Russ Brown's now-defunct West Side Club. During an engagement, she was spotted by band leader and producer Norman Connors. A year later, he tapped her to sing the lead in his version of the Stylistics' 1971 classic, Bet You By Golly Wow. Nearly 34 years after its release, it remains one of Hyman's most memorable performances. Hyman's first solo top 10 hit came in 1981 with Can't We Fall in Love Again, a duet with Michael Henderson. The song was recorded while she was performing in the Broadway musical Sophisticated Ladies, a tribute to Duke Ellington. She performed in the role for almost 2 years, receiving a Tony Award nomination for Best Supporting Actress in a Musical and winning a Theatre World Award for Best Newcomer. In March 1983, In Black America spoke with Phyllis Hyman.
My family had little or no influence on me choosing this as a career. They were very supportive, but I never sang in church. I used to sing in school choirs and college choir. And then in '71, I was asked to join the New Direction, which was a group out of Washington, D.C., headed up by Dick Morgan, a wonderful pianist. And I joined the group, and I really liked being on the road. I liked singing professionally.
What singers did you particularly idolize when you were growing up and try to imitate when you first started singing?
I have to say Nancy Wilson was one I imitated more than anyone. I listened to only a few consciously. Of course, you listen to a lot through radio playing and people who had records on, but consciously, Nancy Wilson was the only singer I would play the records, Guess Who I Saw Today and things like that. And for a long time, I would not perform. I didn't get into the business until I was 21 because of Nancy Wilson. I figured if you couldn't sing like her, don't try it.
I also understand, if memory serves me correctly, your first professional debut as far as the album is concerned was with Norman Connors. How did you particularly get hooked up with Norman Connors?
I was working in New York City at a club called Russ Brown's, and I'd been there about 2 weeks. And Norman came into the club, and he obviously liked me, I guess. I don't really remember what happened, except he asked me to come sit with him and his then manager. And he asked me to come, would I like to make a record? And I'd made records before, kind of demos, and I had made a solo record before, but nothing ever happened to it. And I thought it would be fine. I was getting paid for it. I'll do it. And if the record had not been a good one, I wouldn't have done it. But I went in and worked with its arranger on Najee Allen Gums. It was a joint.
When did you start taking singing serious, actually saying, well, I have a talent here and I can really make a living at this?
Probably not until a few years ago. Maybe, I don't really think about it, but I would think not until a few years ago. I didn't realize. After Sophisticated Ladies, maybe a year ago, I realized now what it is I have. I'm not sure what it is. I just know there's something that people are buying. So I'm trying to work in every facet of the industry that I can. And of course, up to now, I've done jingles, which are singing commercials for television and radio. And I do concerts like I was in Dallas and Houston with the Whispers. I do nightclubs like here in Austin. I do the talk shows like Johnny Carson, Merv Griffin, Mike Douglas. I do specials like the Martin Luther King special that I did on the 8th, shot at the Kennedy Center in Washington and aired on his birthday, the 15th. And then I did the special for U.B. Blake, his 100th year celebration. I do it all, anything that helps pay the rent. That is musically respectful, musically wonderful. I will get in there and do it.
What did it mean to you being a part of Sophisticated Ladies?
It was, at first I was very thrilled about it. My initial reaction to my being taken into the show was, I was ecstatic. And then after rehearsal started, I was going, oh, what have I gotten myself into? I signed this contract, it was a drag. It was too many rehearsals, and they don't always spend time with you. Most of the time was spent with dancers, not with the singers, so you had to develop your own style and things. So I was in perpetual shock all the time because I had very little to do but sit around and eat like I'm doing now, but now I eat tomatoes and lettuce and olives. Then I was eating hamburgers and lots of bread, Now it's rabbit food. It was wonderful. Duke Ellington's music stands on its own merit. He is the greatest American composer ever. And who wouldn't be thrilled doing his material?
You find Phyllis Hyman being somewhat of a woman that likes to do what she likes to do?
Sure, as most people are. Yet, I do what other people want me to do, too. That's why I'm still in the industry. Otherwise, I'd be home cooking for my husband. I wouldn't, I live with a wonderful brother, good brother, who's an optician, makes eyeglasses and fashion glasses, designer glasses. He's a sweetheart, and I'd be home cooking and cleaning the house for him. But I can't participate in my portion of revenue sharing if I were to do that, And in order for people to live and survive today, both people have to work. It's not easy out here, so he's real supportive, more than most men have ever been toward me.
How does Phyllis Hyman survive being out here on the road, a single, attractive woman, and keeping her head on straight, if there's such a term?
Men don't talk to female singers, so there's no problem. I have no problem whatsoever.
Is there a particular reason for that?
I don't know. Men just don't talk to female singers. I have no idea. I'm told, people tell me it's because they're intimidated and they're afraid to say anything, and they also feel I already have somebody. Well, I do have someone, but he's in Philadelphia. He thoroughly understands. You know, and what is a person going to do? I'm not going to do much more than talk or maybe have dinner with someone or a drink or something like that. I do like male company. I'd be a weirdo if I said I didn't. But men never talk to female singers. Not as a rule. Only a real brave men. And I know they're around somewhere, but wherever you are, come out wherever you are. I don't know.
Does Phyllis Hyman write and produce her albums?
I have written some material, but I've never produced anything on myself other than in the studio in demo form, which is kind of the product that you put together before. Pre-production is what you put together before you do the actual record. I've produced, and on that level. It's very time-consuming, very tedious, and I'd rather eat and hang out.
Are there any particular arrangers, songwriters, or producers you particularly like working with when you go in the studio and want to produce an album?
I've worked with all of them. Not all of them, but a lot of them. I love them all. Unfortunately, excluding M2 and Lucas, I've never really had a major smash. I love working with Tom Bell. He's so wonderful. And Narada, Michael Walden, and I had such fun together. Jerry Peters and my ex-husband, Larry Alexander, and Skip Scarborough. I've worked with a bunch of folks, Chuck Jackson and Norman Connors. All those people were wonderful, but they've given me a certain amount of recognition, which I appreciate. I'm just sorry I didn't sell enough records with that. So I'd like to work with all of them again, but we didn't sell a great deal of records. We sold enough for Arista not to give me my pink slip. Pink slip, folks, is like called exit, stage left, you are fired. I haven't gotten that yet, so I guess I'm...
Is it important for an artist to find a record company that has the backing of the people empowered the record company and having the product in which you produce?
There's no question. Record company is extremely important. I have been with Arista a few years. I think this project with Arista, I have great hopes for this project.
That's the Goddess of Love product.
No, that's gone. Done. Goddess Love is done.
New project.
We're going for the new project. And I have great hopes for it. If not, I'm going out of the hotel window. 11th floor, folks, read it in tomorrow's paper.
Phyllis Hyman, being a today woman, what are your other interests besides being a recording artist and a Broadway performer and what have you?
Cooking, cleaning, and sleeping. And not in that order. Sleeping, cooking a little bit. No, I have a lot of interests, as most people do.
I mean, recording is not your whole life.
Oh, please, God, no. No, are you kidding me? It's not even 3/4. It's not even a half of it. I enjoy what most girls like to do. Pretty clothes, makeup. If I had children, I'd be into my kids, but today I was on a plane coming to Austin, I was into someone else's kid. I love children. I love my old man. I take good care of him. I love men. I love my female friends. I just like to do what normal people do. This is my job. This is a gig. I come to work at a certain time. I do my gig. I leave. It is more intricate and more personally involved. It makes your mind do strange things on you because you have people idolizing you and you're always being attended to and people are always pushing you. They want things from you. I do what I want to do. If I want to be bothered, I hang. If I don't, I tell them, hey, got a gig like you, Jack. I'm going to sleep. Good night. People understand that. If they don't understand it, it's okay.
How does Phyllis Hyman keep herself looking so lovely day in and day out? You work at it?
Makeup, Jack. It's called wash the face, put it back on again. What work at it? No. I'm blessed with fairly decent skin. Big eyes, enormous lips, folks. Look like the Goodyear tires. Yeah, I have to work at it. I could surely stand to be a lot slimmer, things like that, but one can't have everything, you know? So I just make do with what I have and try to always improve upon it. That's very important for me, to improve upon what was given to me.
In seeing a live performance, it seems to me that Phyllis Hyman enjoy live in-club performances.
I love it. I can see the audience, I can touch them, I can relate to them a lot better than real big. Oh, TV, you relate to the camera. Unless you have a live audience. And I do TV because I love television. I want to learn about camera angles and how to work that small lens and what you do. I think the last show I did with Martin Luther King special, I was much more in tune to the camera than I ever have been before, because your movements need not to be exaggerated. Exaggeration is for theater and for live concerts. In television, less is better. Less is much better every time. And I've learned that because I don't fling my arms and I'll jump up and down because the camera can't catch all that. It's called stand still, sing, and get down. So now I stand still, sing, and get down, and it picks it up very well.
Final question, Phyllis Hyman. What advice would you have for inspiring young actors, songsters, songwriters, performers of your stature?
I have different answers for different sexes. I would advise women to give it very careful thought because of the way society is, because of the way we're raised, because of our mental interpretation of what's going on. I would tell chicks as a rule, don't hang. It's not happening. It's really, I love it. I love people, but the business really isn't worth it. For a woman's, oh God, unless a woman is a real strong, almost arrogant and detached from all emotional involvement, it's very difficult. If there's a girl out there that's got a great voice and has very little emotional involvement with people and stuff, I say right on to her, because she will be successful. Those of us who are very emotionally attached, like myself, who's a Cancer with Sagittarius, Moon and Rising, it's not easy for me. Because if my old man said, hey, I'd rather you be home, I'd probably go home, and if I were a secretary, I wouldn't go home, you see? So that's really not realistic, and it's not good for you. But he would never do that. I've known other men that would have. He would never, ever do that, which is making me stronger. If, God forbid, we should break up, I'll be able to handle the next guy with no problem. If he says, come home, I'll tell him, drop dead. Because I don't take you to come home from your job as an engineer or a gas attendant. I'll let you do your boogie, so don't bother me with mine. But girls have a hard time dealing with that because moms tell them, you're supposed to wash the clothes, darling. Seal, wash the clothes, okay? I want you to wash the clothes. Do the laundry, cook dinner. And girls today really must dictate their own lifestyles. We can't let our husbands do it, our boyfriends, even our fathers once you reach a certain age. We learn from our parents. We learn from the male influencers. Bottom line is you must make your own decisions and create your own space. And I've done that over the years, and it's worked pretty good. It's hard. It's very hard because you're very lonely. Women are very much alone. If you notice the group is here tonight, they have girls everywhere. You notice it's just me and you. Ain't nobody here but you and I, you know. I mean, this is work. Men don't come around female performers. Just don't do it.
This has been a tribute to the late Phyllis Linda Hyman, singer, songwriter, and actress. Hyman died on June 30th, 1995 at the age of 45. If you have questions, comments, or suggestions as to future In Black America programs, email us at lowercase@KUT.org. Also, let us know what radio station you heard us over. The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station or of the University of Texas at Austin. You can hear previous programs online at KUT.org. Until we have the opportunity again for technical producer David Alvarez, I'm John L. Hanson Jr. Thank you for joining us today. Please join us again next week.
CD copies of this program are available and may be purchased by writing In Black America CDs, KUT Radio, 1 University Station, Austin, Texas, 78712. That's In Black America CDs, KUT Radio, 1 University Station, Austin, Texas, 78712. This has been a production of KUT Radio.